The USA team defeated South Sudan 103 to 86 the other day, which was obviously a bigger improvement over the last time they played them, in which they barely won by 1 point. What really stood out to me about this game was the move Steve Kerr made before the game, which was deciding not to play Joel Embiid for the whole entire game, which I thought was a great move ahead of time, because if you watch any of my previous videos, I've felt that Joel Embiid is a huge liability to Team USA. Defensively, he's terrible out there. He's very slow-footed. He's not good at rotating. When he's in the game, it opens up easy buckets for the opposition. They get easy opportunities to score, and it just makes the game that much easier. He's definitely a liability out there. His offense doesn't compensate for his defensive liabilities. That's how I strongly feel about this. So that was a great move by Steve Kerr. A great move. I've felt for a while that Anthony Davis, in my mind, is the most important player on this team, because he's the defensive anchor. When he's in the game, it just changes completely. You could tell he intimidates the opposition. Just his rim protection's elite. He's still great at switching. He just deters a lot of shots. He causes guys to shoot terrible percentages when he's on the court. It just makes it so much harder when he's roaming around there. To me, that his skill set is really irreplaceable right now, because there's no one on Team USA that comes even close to that. So if he wasn't there, I definitely feel USA would lose this tournament. That's how valuable his defensive skill sets are. Steve Kerr definitely recognized this by benching Joel Embiid and starting him. And obviously you see the difference in the results. They win by 17 instead of barely winning by 1. That to me was a bold move, in the sense that he was risking a lot of backlash if Team USA lost by doing this move. So I think it's a gutsy move. To me, that's a boss move. A boss move in my mind is making a move that's controversial and willing to deal with the backlash in case you fail, willing to deal with all the criticism, and doing the move, knowing it's the right thing to do, even though it's not the popular thing to do, to still go through with it. So I have to give Steve Kerr credit for that one. And even the game against Serbia, benching Tatum for the whole entire game, playing Kevin Durant instead, that was another boss move. It was a great move. Durant is still a better player than Tatum, even at old age. He still has a higher impact on the game offensively. His shooting is still better than Tatum. He's still a prolific scorer. You throw him in the game, that just changes the complexion. I feel like he's almost as important to Team USA as Anthony Davis, in the sense that offensively he's the best player on the team. I know some people say LeBron, but you put Durant in there and just it changes the complexion of the game on the offensive end. It makes it harder for the opposing teams to guard Team USA defensively. So that's another dimension it adds to the game by having him there. To me, he's like the second most important player on Team USA. That's the way I view it, just what he can do. But those were two big time moves, and they were controversial. He got a lot of backlash, on social media and through the media for not playing Tatum. He got criticized, and then he got criticized for not playing Joel Embiid the next game, making that adjustment. But in both cases, it was the right move to make. He did the right move, despite it not being the most popular thing to do. Those are boss moves. I have to give him credit, because I've never respected Steve Kerr. I've always viewed him as a cuck when I see all the stuff that's gone down on his Warriors teams with Draymond Green, him not having control of the situation. So I had to give him credit for making these moves. That's only fair if we're being objective. These were great moves. You don't know if any other coach would have done these controversial moves or would have been brave enough to attempt them. You could say like, well, this was the obvious move to do. Not necessarily. Other coaches might have just gone against it and tried to be conservative and not deal with the negative backlash. But Kerr, to his credit, didn't care, and it's paid off so far for Team USA. They're up 2-0. It will be interesting to see what other adjustments he makes down the stretch. I would also say Kerr has done a good job of keeping the players still unified despite doing that. It's very hard to convince a league MVP to sit out a whole entire game and not play him. Also, it's hard to convince the current NBA champion, an all NBA team guy, not to play in a game. So that's great coaching for him because both Embiid and Tatum could have pouted about it. They could have caused some dissension within the team locker room, but they didn't. So Kerr is doing his job right now. He's maximizing his talent he has on Team USA, getting the most out of them, and he's winning games. He's controlling what he can control as a coach. So right now, you had to give him credit. Unfortunately, you had to give him credit. I say this as someone who doesn't respect the man, but I give him credit, and we'll see what he does from this point forward.